What do you do when what you desire is beyond reach?
You use power that breaks barriers. Speed at the palm of your hands. The Giga Life.
Now in 5G.
Do you believe this is possible?
I do.
How do you know?
Simple,
Smart
Acro.
In life, what we believe in propels us to go in different ways. But the truth remains. What we do affects the world around us. How it all turns out depends on the choices we make. Let me ask you this. If the world gave us a second chance, what would we do? Should we do good? Or should we do better? Should we push for what we believe in? Should we empower others to speak and have their voices heard? Let's strive to save what we can while we can. Share more knowledge to build and not to destroy. Show the ways to heal and not to hurt. Let's strive to live smarter, to make the world better. Because it doesn't matter who, what, or where you are. We have the power to create a better world. Not just for ourselves, but for the good of all. The world is now on reset and is giving us a second chance. We have it in our hands to do better. How do I know this? Simple, smart, ako. How about you? What are you prepared to do?
Everybody, welcome to another episode of our PBA Mock Draft 2021. Again, this is a crossover between three different pods of Tiebreaker, which is the Coaches Unfiltered, the Prospects pod, and 2OT. So I know you had a lot of fun last time. We judged it because it actually had a lot of views. But this time, mas may clarity na. So we kind of know what we're going to do. And first, I'd like to introduce our hosts and the guys who will actually be picking. I'll start first with Coach Anton Altamirano. He says he's jobless now, so for coaches who want to hire him, he's a very good coach. Please look for him. You can hit him up anytime. And of course, we have Randolph Leongson, who is very, very hot right now. That's he's a hot topic. Randolph is, of course, a good friend of a very good writer. Yeah, very good. I like Randolph. He has a lot of good articles. Randolph, magpakabait ka na ha. Then we have Coach Paolo, my assistant coach, who is also doing something very unique now. He's offering certain services to basketball players. So whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, if you're interested in his service, he's one of the top analytics guys, basically best video guys in the whole country. So I vouch for him. He's also looking for a job. Well, not really, because if you take him from me, I will be very pissed. But please try to help him out. Check out his stuff. He's got great stuff. You'll learn a lot of basketball. And then, of course, the newly married, my very favorite partner when we do games together. Of course, I think he's probably also one of the best writers in the country in sports. Such a great sports guy. And much respect to Mr. Carlo Pamintuan. Congrats, Carlo. Hello, everybody.
Thank you.
Di nyo ba napansin yung ad, by the way, ni Smart? It's not Captain Ri anymore, who's my favorite, by the way, but it's now Captain America, Chris Evans. Kind of cool, huh?
Oo eh. Parang after that, ano pa bang ginagawa natin? Kasi ang pogi nung nauna sa atin.
Baka yung budget nila next time, pwede naman bigay sa atin. It would be great. Konti lang, pwede na. But it's really cool. I'd love to meet them if they can make it happen, especially the K-drama peeps. Captain Ri, pretty cool. So, again, we always want to thank Smart for always supporting all our shows. Of course, Smart reminds us to live smarter for a better world. Through this initiative, it's Smart's aim to create that spark in everyone to help change the world for the better. Of course, I would like to also plug my coffee business, guys, for our viewers. If you like cold brew, at your daily coffee dose, best cold brew in town, Coach Paolo.
Really good. It's really good.
Hey, Carlo too. Yes, so thank you. And I'm extra happy because, guys, I'm gonna enjoy this wine while you guys pick. It's a 2001 bottle, Leoville Poifer, a French bottle. So I'm just sharing too. If Coach Luigi Trillo is watching, he will love this. So, guys, let's get started. It should be fun. But again, to our viewers now, yung last time pagbigyan nyo kami kasi we didn't know what would happen. Wala pang Gilas draft announcement noon. Wala pang final eligible player. So now there is clarity. So we might as well start with that Gilas draft, no? We got the Gilas round. So there are 4 picks. The first of which will be Terra Firma's pick, followed by Northport, and then the 2 NLEX picks. So, Mr. Randolph, dahil ikaw yung pinaka-hot topic right now, why don't you start us off? Who's your first pick for the Gilas draft?
I think this would be the easiest pick for, at least, para dito sa Gilas Pilipinas. And Terra Firma would be... Actually, I feel they're very fortunate na naidagdag to dun sa pool. Terra Firma would pick, in my view, William Navarro as the top pick pagdating din sa Gilas pool. Because nakita natin yung caliber ni William Navarro with Gilas playing. I believe he's one of the smartest big men sa pool natin, irregardless sa Gilas draft or regular draft. We've seen it in Ateneo, dun sa run nila to the UAP championships. So I think this is a no-brainer pick for Terra Firma going forward.
Guys, kayo yung aso yan, ha?
Kay Randolph, kaya minumute na yung sarili niya eh.
Apat eh.
Galit rin siya. Galit rin yung aso.
Do you guys have any objection to this William Navarro pick?
No.
To that obvious?
That's
it's interesting though. He almost didn't join the draft, diba? They had to kind of convince him to join. No?
Actually, I was kind of surprised. I when the initial list came out, I thought he was like a sure ball guy they'd include in that Gilas draft, and then he wasn't. And then a few days later, they got him again, which I think he's deserving, and he's deserving of this number 1 pick in the Gilas draft. He's a good talent, smart player, and obviously he's gonna improve a lot playing under Gilas.
That's true. All right, next up, Anton, who do you have for Northport?
Okay, for Northport, it's a toss-up. I'm thinking between 2 guys. Of course, there's only four guys in this Gilas draft, but I'm thinking about 2 guys in JD Tungkap and Jordan Heading. So I'm leaning towards Jordan Heading because one factor is he's pro-ready since he already played in the ABL. I think that's one advantage he has over JD. And of course, his resume, he played I think he played Division 1 for Cal State. And I think he brings a lot for Northport in terms of a big guard, can play the 1, can play the 2, can help with the scoring in long term. I know he's not gonna play yet for Northport, but I think long term he'll be good.
Okay. Carlo, you're the one who's most familiar with Jordan because I know you've seen him play a lot. Just your thoughts on this. Where does he stack up against, the other guards of Gilas right now and maybe the guards who played, the college guards who played in their last pool?
I think he's a little more athletic than the Gilas guards currently in the pool. He can shoot. He definitely can shoot. But I don't think we saw enough of him in the ASEAN Basketball League to really have a strong opinion on what kind of player he will be as a PBA player, as a professional basketball player. But certainly there is a lot of potential there. Plays well on both ends. Masipag, high basketball IQ. So I think he's a really good addition to Gilas.
Okay, that's great. So with that, your third pick for NLEX, who do you got, Carlo?
Kahit sino, wala no. It doesn't make any difference.
They both go to NLEX, no?
I think Coach Pao, with all due respect to you, let's just skip this part
let's skip
because it will be Chadi Rangel and JD Tongkab falling for.
Sige na lang, ganito na lang. But si Tongkab was part of the pool. Si Rangel, maybe a lot of guys haven't seen it. I don't even remember where we had him in our last mock draft. Didn't one of you guys pick him, Power?
I picked Tongkab for Rainer side.
Yep, and then no one picked Rangel.
But how about Rangel?
Okay,
He
so
wasn't there.
Rangel was actually part of NU when I was with NU.
Okay.
He's more of he's gonna be like a project in the sense that he hasn't really played much the last few years. But I'm interested to see how he's gonna do because he is still 6'7", and if he's gonna be working for the next year or two with Coach Tab, hey, you never know, man. You never know.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, there's a reason why he's in this Gilas draft. I think they saw potential in him. That's why, we'll see.
Honestly, I really think that Rangel is the clear winner of this draft already. Immediately. He wins this draft because you're betting that he will become a better player, but he is already guaranteed a contract, which you cannot say for a lot of good players in the actual draft.
I like that. That's a great point that you made, Carlo. That's a very valid point. Okay. Now, this is the fun part, which I'm really looking forward to. I hope this time, wag na kayo mahiya. Pag may objection kayo sa picks, game na. Kanina, before the show, guys, ang dami nilang sinasabi.
Rumors.
Pag may mga rumors, may mga sources.
Let's go.
Go for it. If you want to share your sources, why not? So, okay, this time we kind of jumbled it up. I like this. Now, Coach Pao is going to be the number 1 overall pick for Terra Firma. Coach Paolo, who do you have? Let's let round 1 begin.
Okay, if you had asked me maybe a few years ago, doesn't matter who's in the draft, I would have said Mikey Williams. But because Josh Manson is younger, and I'm thinking as a GM or a head coach or whatever of a PBA team, I'll go with the younger talent who I think for me, there are 2 guys in this draft who can be game changers. Obviously, Mikey Williams is one. The other one is Josh Manson. I mean, he's the consensus number 1 pick in almost every single mock draft. I mean, I'll pick him number 1.
Okay, Coach Paula's interesting pick. I got a lot of flack from our mighty boys, from Jamie, who says, how can he not be number 1? I said I wasn't picking, I'm just moderating. How can Jamie and Mikey, our mighty boys, not be number 1? But agreeable. Josh Manzon, he's pretty good, man. And, I also had a chance to be with him in one tournament in Macau. So, can't argue there. Okay, Carlo, who's number 2 for you?
If Northport did not have Robert Bolick, I would strongly consider getting Mikey Williams. But they do. And right now, I want to trade this Northport pick to Randolph Leongson because...
Because...
Pwede ba yun?
Darating tayo dyan.
There's no trade.
I want his explanations on who will play well alongside the other players of Northport. But I'll keep it. I'm picking Jamie Malonzo. He will immediately make them better from day 1.
Were you hinting on a Robert Bolick trade just there? If he's
No. I said if he wasn't there, I would consider Mikey in terms of just the level of talent. But when you already have a really good guard in Robert Bolick, then it makes more sense to draft someone like Jamie Malonzo, who will plug in a lot of holes and will be a really good help defender for the bigs nitong Northport.
Definitely.
Okay, Jamie, if you're watching again, I mean, blame Coach Pao for not going number 1, but hey, at least you're still number 2. Can't go wrong with either of those picks. Makes sense, Carlo. About you, Randolph, number 3. Sayang, di ka tinapat sa Northport.
Meron pa namang late first.
Meron pa. Sige.
Darating tayo dyan.
NLEX muna.
NLEX, I think this is a guy that has really shot up the draft boards ng ilang teams, and I think parcel of it was yung pag-vouch ng mga naging coach niya before, who was comparing him to as good as a Stanley Pringle. But we're hearing strong considerations of NLEX picking Mikey Williams. So I believe my gut that number 3, whatever NLEX decides to do with him, it will really be Mikey Williams. We've seen the guy play for Mighty Sports for you, Coach Charles. Undeniable yung caliber niya. But there's also a part of coaches and scouts who believe na he's just, correct me if I'm wrong, na he's just scaling his potential. Na parang we haven't seen how great Mikey Williams could be. And if he goes to NLEX and teams up with Kiefer, Kevin Elas and Jericho Cruz, or whatever they decide to do as per what sources might say, na kung saan man siya mapunta, it's a definite thing that he'll be a surefire stud pagdating niya sa PBA.
Okay, unang-unang sa lahat, I've had some PBA coaches also tell me that it was so mind-boggling why Mikey Williams, at the start, wasn't being discussed at all in any mock drafts, how he wasn't even considered the top 5 pick, which is, I completely agree with that assessment. It's absolutely crazy also. If he doesn't go anywhere in the top 3, I don't know what people are thinking. But what interested me more with what you said was that sources. May nangyayari ba sa index? Meron ka bang alam na hindi pa namin alam?
I think si Carlo yung mas makakapagsalita because nag-guess niya si coaching. But there are some parties who are saying that things might happen with one of NLEX's 3 and 4 picks. So, hindi natin alam kung may movements dyan. Tingnan natin. Yun lang.
Carlo, what can you say about that?
Well, I will not say anything that wasn't said on the record by Coach Yang Giao. Okay. He said that there will be discussions between team officials tomorrow and that we should expect a lot of big news coming from NLEX from now until Saturday. That's all he said.
Okay. Well,
if you're going to move the number 3 pick, which is at this rate is Mikey Williams, you better be getting something really, really like
sure.
Well, maybe the 4th, not the 3rd
player.
Sure.
Yeah, could be the 4th. Wait, if they want to trade Troy Rosario, maybe NLEX would want to get him.
Hey, whoa, hey.
What?
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
You're blurting out names. Hey.
Oh, wait, they can't trade with each other, right? But anyways, we'll figure that part out. But I'm just saying, Mikey would be good in any team, 100%. Okay, Coach Anton, who do you have for the other NLEX pick?
Well, okay, I'll be picking for NLEX, but you'll never know, nga. It might be traded, so... Again, I'm torn between 2 players who played almost the same. I think that's the need of NLEX right now. And I'm going to be basing this also on rumors I've been hearing. And wala naman ako source, but I've been hearing it. And for this pick, I'm going to be picking Calvin Oftana. Very versatile guy, can play multiple positions. And I think yun yung mga talagang gusto ni coaching na type of players that can play tough, can shoot, can play inside, outside, and he's long, and I think he's gonna be someone would really flourish under Coach Yang.
Galing nyo, dami yung rumors ha. Sana yung mga sources na yun lumabas. But the other, well, our other pickers here, other GMs. Do you agree with this, Calvin Oftana? Obviously, he's a talent, but would you say that NLEX may probably need a big man more, or is Oftana the only logical pick?
I think for me, like looking at NLEX's lineup, well, they do have Soyud and Kenyahan, and I don't know what's going to happen with Asi, but I do think they need a big. So I think they might be better served by getting a big man at the number 4 pick, but I mean, it's Calvin Oftana. I mean, yeah. Charles, you know how much I love his game, so I can't really complain too much. But if there are some big guys who I think are going to be coming off the board soon, so let's see.
Okay, Carlo, number 5. Who do you have?
This is a very interesting pick. For 2 reasons. If I'm rain or shine, the perfect scenario would have been for Calvin Oftana and a big to be drafted by NLEX. That's what I'm praying for. Calvin Oftana 3 and a big, whichever you want. Would it be maybe Larry Muyang or Leonard Santillan or whatever big you want? Because it will leave Mikey Williams with me and I need a point guard. So now, yung question is, do I draft again, it's the age-old question of the draft. Do I draft someone that I need, or do I draft the best talent available and figure things out? Me, I would rather draft the best talent instead of overreaching for a guard at this point. So even if I'm loaded with bigs, I'd want the best talent available. And it could be, again, it could be Leonard, it could be Larry Muyang, but for me, my taste, I think I will be leaning with Muyang for rain or shine. They could trade down. They could consider trading down. I think that could be something that would solve things for them, get something out of it, and get a guard later on in the draft. But if you would pick at number 5, I think I'd rather go for talent over need right now.
Wow, that's a very interesting pick. I mean, Muyang was the first round pick in our previous mock draft, but I don't think he was this high. I was actually wishing Larry some luck a few days ago, and sabi niya, sana lang mapick. Sabi ko, syempre mapipick ka. Sana first round daw. So, well, if he goes to number 5 and magdilang Angel ka, Carlo, that'd be great for Larry Muyang. You guys agree with this pick, though? Because Carlo also pointed out the fact that Rain or Shine has a lot of big men already. Rando, what do you think of this pick?
As much as Rain or Shine needs to shore up yung kanilang the pure point guard position na back in the Clark bubble, basically was fulfilled by a Rain Nambata who we believe is more of a 2. The thing with drafts kasi is scarce yung big man eh. And if you can get your hands on a solid big man, si Larry, he's just 6'6", 6'5", despite being undersized. He's one guy who knows how to throw his weight around, basically almost like Bo Belga. It's wise for them to shore up yung kanilang front line. Kasi we have to consider, tatlo pa yung second round picks ng Rain or Shine eh. And they can get a number of good point guards in the second round or maybe in the latter rounds with the depth na meron tayo sa field natin. So I think that's a good move for Rain or Shine to focus more on adding more ceiling dun sa kanilang lineup.
Ikaw, Coach Pao, who might be, because Carlo mentioned maybe taking the best talent also or whatever. That's what Coach Anton said. But if you were to pick a guard this high maybe for Rain or Shine, who might you have picked?
And I have to pick a guard.
I mean,
Ayaw mo rin eh. Exactly.
Because Carlo said that, or because our Carlo and Randolph said that's probably their
Alvin Pascal guard dyan.
that they need to fit, find a piece. Or do you agree with this one?
If I were to pick, regardless of position, and based on knowing Coach Chris a little bit, I would pick Santi at number 5.
For sure. I get it.
At number 5. If I was gonna pick a guard, I guess I'm not. I kind of like not guard. He's not really a guard. He's more of a wing, but I kind of like Taylor Brown. Okay, but at number 5, let's see.
Well, too bad you weren't picking for Rain or Shine, so it's okay. Carlo's pick stands. We have full confidence in Carlo. Okay, Randolph, Alaska.
Mas madali yung naging process ng pagpili ko kasi
I know.
pinili na si Carlo. But yeah, it's logical for Alaska to pick Santi Santillan at number 6 just because they need to add height. We don't know if ano pang mangyayari with Sonny Tos if he's gonna be back. And obviously, a big loss for them would be Vic Manuel. And one guy who almost mimics the same or almost the same way of playing dito sa field natin is Leonard Santillan, who was I can say, I've been saying, has been one of the most hardworking forwards that you can get despite just being 6'4". Ano yan eh, talagang ito yung makikipagpalitan ng muka. And I feel he's gonna bode well dun sa number of big men na meron ng Alaska with Rodney Prondial, with Abu Tratter, and Barkley Ebonia. So I think it's a steal. It's an okay haul for Alaska to trade. Ito kasi yung pick na basically nakuha nila nung tinrade si Vic Manuel to Phoenix eh. So that's a decent turnabout na makukuha ng Alaska to get Santi at this stage.
Okay, if I flip it naman, let's say na take earlier si Santi, if he wasn't there, would like a pick like Muyang make sense for Alaska based on what you said, Randolph?
It's really about shoring the front line for Alaska eh. Again, you lost Vic Manuel. You don't know if you're still gonna get back Sonny Tos. whatever his decision will be. So I think it's just a toss-up between Muyang or Santillan talaga. And it's a better fit, I believe, for Alaska if Santillan falls in their laps.
Coach Anton, being the coach of Santi for a couple of years at 3x3, and of course your father was recently part of the Alaska staff, knowing how that franchise runs. So do you like to speak for Alaska? No-brainer ba?
No-brainer, and siguro kawawa rin si Santi kasi puro born ready na lang sabihin niya kasi puro feel ang mga kasama niya, kawawa. Pero in terms of, his ability, his talent, talagang no question Santi's gonna flourish with Alaska.
Okay, well, back to you then, Coach Pao. You have Phoenix's pick. Since you know Coach Topex very well, of course, Paolo Bugia, the manager, also was with you in Alaska. So I'm sure you kind of have a sense how they like to think or decide on things. Who's your bet?
I think at this point they'll try and get the best talent available, and I feel that's going to be Ben Adamos. Even though they have Justin Chua, even though they have Perkins, even though they have Vic Manuel now, so they have a solid front line. Mm-hmm. I think Ben is going to be a very, very good PBA player. He might not be a superstar, but I feel he has a high floor. Like he can come in and contribute in any team. I was really, really surprised with his development because I was telling Anton this. Comparing NCAA to when he played in MPBL, he's like a different player now. It looks like he's healthy. He's enjoying the game more. He's grabbing rebounds in traffic. I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people in the PBA.
Okay. Any objections to that pick, guys?
I would have gone to another direction. Yeah.
Can you share that, please, Carlo?
For me, looking at what Phoenix is building, you already have Justin and Perk and Vic Manuel. It makes sense, yes. It makes sense to get a big like Adamos. Pero it's really interesting for me to get Alvin Pasola at this point. I don't know why. I don't have a good explanation for it. This is not a rumor I heard. Pero parang gusto ko lang makita si Pasaol in that particular team. I just think it will be a good fit.
And playing under Coach Topex, no? That
For sure.
That would be okay. I like that. I like that pick. I think I like that pick more than Adamos. Coach
sayang wala na si Calvin para Pasaol and Calvin.
Yun yung papalit Yun yung papalit sa kanya.
Si Adamos kasi had his best moments in San Beda with an assistant coach in Phoenix right now with Coach Jamaica rin. So that's something that could help him, saying na nabanggit na nga ni Pao yung development ni Ben from Perpetual even to the MPBL. So I think if Adamos goes there, I think that's a better fit.
It's a safe pick. It's a very safe pick. Yeah.
So here's my contention and why I think Pasaol might not fit there. No, don't get me wrong, Pasaol's a good offensive player. But
do they have small doors?
Wala silang extra rice.
They already have Chris Banchero, Matthew Wright, Vic Manuel, Jason Perkins. And then you're going to add another scorer pa. So I don't know. Maybe he'd fit. But I think Ben, he helps. You have another big guy. And he's more...
I get you.
Have you seen the Brooklyn Nets, though? Where offense is the thing right now. Like, man, let's just try to outscore everybody. But yeah.
Safe pick. Very safe choice for me. You can't go wrong with him.
If Pasol goes to Phoenix, Coach Pao, and starts making points, ganyan.
Glad. I hope he proves me wrong.
Yeah, I think that Alvin Pasol has a lot more to show. Kasi he played 3-on-3. So people think na yung laro niya sa 3-on-3 is gonna be the same as 5-on-5. Believe me, I think he has more to show when it comes to 5-on-5.
Ikaw ba to, Anton? So sinasabi mo yung 3-on-3, hindi lumalabas yung game nila?
Kasi naman, it's a half-court game. Hindi pa rin yung full court 5-on-5.
Alam ko, ginaman yung 3-on-3
He scored 49 points in college. I'm just saying.
He was great. Siyempre, bata mo rin si Alvin, having worked with him together with Santi. So I think your opinion on that is very valid.
Yeah, I think he fits yung swagger ng team. If there's such a thing.
Teka, hindi pa natin siya na-pick. So, mamaya natin pag-usapan si Pasol pag na-pick na.
Pero na, pag-usapan natin. Ako na
next pick si Anton.
So, sino pick mo?
Well, it's too hard not to, it's too hard to pass up on him at number 8. Say for me, he's also supposed to be size 7. So I'm picking Alvin Pasol, no brainer.
Okay, that makes sense. But I think they're obviously for him showing what he did in the UAAP the last time he was there, and obviously being projected as a very high pick, and maybe slipping down to number 8. I guess there may be some apprehensions, Coach Anton, to kung bakit ganun. What do you think about this? Why do people maybe think na medyo mid to late first round na lang si Pasol? What are the worries of some na baka ganun?
Number 1 worry sa kanya is his weight. Yung body type niya, if he can play defense in the 5-and-5. I think yung mga tsaka another thing is, I think when people were watching him in the MPBL, they couldn't define his position kasi he was a guard, he played the guard but he posted a lot. So yun yung mga things na I think people are worried about, pero my experience with him, he's a winner. He's a player. Kumbaga, kung magaling ka. And Alvin Pasol is definitely someone to watch out for sa kasi people are saying Santillan's the talented one, pero bakit si Pasol lang tinitingnan sa 3-on-3? Because he brings something that's I don't know how to explain it, pero yun nga, siguro swagger.
His swag is like in the levels of Paul Lee Marcagiwa. Of course, he knows he's good, and he knows na talagang you give me the ball, I'll make something out of this. Talagang that's how he is. How about defensively though? Are you worried in the PBA for him?
Sa akin kasi he's been playing with that weight for a long time for a reason. Kasi he's an underrated high IQ guy. Mautak, so he knows how to he knows how to use his body, and he knows how to get to the defensive positions na efficiently. So sa akin, overall, I won't be worried about his defense because syempre it's a team defense. Ang mas worry ko is how he will fit with the team. With Terra Firma, I don't think he has any pressure. All he has to do is just play. So it's a win-win for him.
Okay, now Carlo, before you go to your Meralco pick, I just want to know where do you think, or what position do you think Alvin Pasol will end up playing in the PBA? Is he a big? Is he a wing?
I think he should be a 3. I mean, even if other 3s would be taller than him, faster than him, I think he should be a 3. The 2s would be a little too fast for him to defend. So I think small forward yung sweet spot nitong si Alvin.
Okay. Now, with that being said, we go to the 9th pick. I think this is a bit tricky, Carlo. I don't know if you're going to have a time. Kasi parang yung 8 names that we mentioned are kind of the names na medyo matunog na. So I'm curious who you'll end up choosing here.
I was considering getting a guard, but again, it's a matter of would you pass up on getting a big at this point, even if may Raymond Almazan ka, even if that position is generally safe for you. Looking at the board, Meralco does not have a pick in the second round. So wala kang safety net, unlike Rain or Shine that could pass up on a guard in the first round and then pick a guard in the second. Pero for me, I would just piss off Magnolia by getting Troy Reich at this point so they don't get a big, and then decide afterwards what I want to do with him. Troy Reich is still 6'8", big body, banger. Has some offensive weapons in the arsenal, can definitely be developed into a better PBA big man. So I'm getting him for Meralco.
Interesting, no? Well, developing into a big man, especially under Coach Norman, that's one thing Coach Norman is so good at. But I do think they are a bit loaded nga, no? Kayo guys, do you agree with this Troy Reich pick? I'm not gonna ask Coach Anton because that's a given. Randolph, Coach Paolo.
I have rumors.
Rumors? Okay, go, Coach Anton.
I heard tomorrow he has a workout with Meralco.
I see.
That's not a rumor. That's basically him telling you that he's working out.
Oh, he didn't tell me anything. I haven't seen him.
Yeah. Rumor from Troy Reich. I'm working out with them. Cool. Let's see what they say. Coach Pao and Randolph, kayo, what do you think about this pick for Meralco?
For me, it's I think the key word that you guys said was about development. Because if you look at Meralco's lineup, they have a really solid team right now. They're kind of, especially up front. So if you're gonna get a guy, you're probably not getting someone who's gonna contribute this year. You're thinking who can help you down the road. So knowing that Reynald Hugnatan is probably maybe gonna retire in a year or two, who knows? And then you have to factor in that he's gonna be gone, and then Noy Baclao is still coming off an injury, and Raymond Almasan is injury prone. I think it you hit you hit on two things at one time. Like first you get a backup big, and then number two you get someone you can develop. So I think Troy's a decent pick. I don't know how he'll end up as a PBA player. He's high IQ, good guy. Got nothing bad to say about him. Of course, there's concerns about can he guard Junmar? I don't. Well, nobody can guard Junmar. But I mean, he can he withstand like guys posting him up? Will he be able to be an offensive player in the league? Who knows, right? Like you said, Charles, with Coach Norman, he develops big men really well.
That's true. Well, Reynald Hugnatan looked great too, by the way. So I don't know if he's going to retire anytime soon.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll try to play as long as Asi's been playing. But okay, Coach Anton, Magnolia.
Okay, so this pick, honestly, Magnolia already has what it wanted from the draft, and that is getting Calvin Abueva. So by trading down for the 10th pick, it's not really a necessity right now for them. Pero like what Carlo was saying, I think Magnolia is gonna get a big, and with the bigs left in the draft, wala na masyado. So siguro this pick could be a pick like for a project pick, or maybe a pick like what they did with Mike Calisaan. But so you'll never know kung anong gagawin nila sa pick na to, or what will happen to this pick. But for me, they would draft a big, and that big man would, for me, I don't know if this is gonna be a bust or a steal, but it's James Laput for me.
I just knew you were gonna pick him when you said big man, right? Okay. Bust ka agad iniisip mo. Grabe naman.
Sabi ko bust or steal. I said bust or steal.
Okay, guys, your reaction to the James Laput pick. To be honest, I haven't seen him enough, so I really cannot pass any judgment on
Charles, nag-guest namin si James last Friday sa The Prospects Pod with Norman Riego and the still absent Kiefer Ravena. Kung nasaan ka man yan, Keith, saan magparamdam ka. But ang magandang bagay na nasabi ni James is he's putting himself in the mold of a Rafi Ribis. And I think that's a sensible move for him, given that his height, he's 6'10". Ang dami pang dapat patunayan yan from Lasal, na concuss, and then even sa Chokes 3x3, I believe, parang medyo kulang pa rin yung naipakita niya. And if he learns from a guy like Rafi Ribis, kumbaga, Rafi, despite being 40, still playing at that best basketball of his life, still contributing well for Magnolia. If James will be taken under Rafi's wing, kumbaga, low-risk pick para sa Magnolia yun eh. Diba? Kumbaga, if Rafi can develop Laput to be a guy who can block shots, pulot-pulot lang sa ilalim, okay na ako dun eh. And that's not really much of a gamble being this late in the first round, and given yung limits nung bigs na natitira sa draft board natin. So that's a good pick for me.
Okay. Well, Rafi Ribis would be
reaction.
Okay.
Quick reaction.
Please.
If yung peg niya is Rafi Ribis now, I'd say it's a reachable peg. But if you tell me that he thinks he's going to score 10 points and grab 8 rebounds and get a block per game, which was what Rafi Ribis was during his sophomore year, I don't think it's going to happen. So if
Ribis ng San daw eh,
he was good before. He was really good before.
Hindi naman niya sinabi siguro na San Juan Knights Rafi Ribis, or maybe Coca-Cola Rafi Ribis, or Ginebra Rafi Ribis. I think it's more of, since kakarating niya lang din sa Pilipinas 2019.
Yun na napanood niya.
Oh, yun lang yung napanood niya. So, I think, tama ka, Carlo, that's a reachable goal for him.
Di pa siya pinapanganak nun.
And that's a serviceable role to take, ha? Kumbaga tempered expectations na lang din for James Laput.
Well, if he does play as like Rafi Rivas, I'd be impressed because, man, he's still playing at a high level that I don't even know how old Rafi is, but
40.
40?
42?
Yep.
Only, but he's been there forever. He's a winner. He's won so many championships, so we can't say.
11. Yep.
11.
Respect his name. 43 years old, 11-time PBA champion.
Ooh.
So if James Laput can be that will be the biggest turnaround. I mean, from a prospect to an all-timer.
Yeah.
You're giving too much pressure on James.
Sabi ng Rafi Rivas comparison eh.
You're the one who picked him.
Hey, I said bust or steal. So,
Dude, I think I don't know, man. It's Randolph, you said low risk. No, it's high risk, high reward. I think that's a better term.
But with the bigs that you have, diba? I mean, 6'10" is undeniable. I mean,
6'10", but he doesn't move like Rafi.
They've went with Isaac Holstein before, and
like
they barely needed him to win a Grand Slam.
Yep.
Yeah,
Then
but that
if
was
his
like,
target was Isaac Holstein and win the Grand Slam, maybe it would have been the perfect
does he even know about Isaac Holstein?
Samahan niyo naman. Anyways, itong pick na hinihintay ko eh kasi very interesting. Nakamali dito, Randolph. Northport's pick. Who do you have, Randolph?
Trade.
Hindi ko pwede i-trade kasi wala pang takers eh. Pakinggan lang natin. But with what we've been hearing from Northport, they're set in taking Jamie Malonzo at number 2. They really want to get big. Nakuha na rin kasi yung Troy Reich and James Laput, which aside from Ben Adamo Santi and Larry Moyang were the prime targets, kumbaga, pagdating dun sa big man. And obviously, William Navarro wala dyan. I think Northport would be willing to gamble on someone like Ken Holmqvist. We've seen yung potential ng bata na to despite him playing here back in 2016 pa. He was, paangat na yung laro niya sa FEU, was even called up sa Sinag Pilipinas or Gilas Pilipinas for an international tournament and won. Actually, Seaba yata yung tournament na yun. Siguro suspect lang kung gaano siya kagaling because we've been able to reach Ken, and sabi niya he's been dabbling, he's been working, he has a family now, and yung basketball niya is basically parang recreational leagues lang eh. So it would be really intriguing for him to play for Northport. Although siguro something na Coach Anton and Paolo would be familiar is hindi ko madedenay dito na yung may isang assistant coach sila doon, na si Coach Jeff, kaibigan ko yan, has been handling developing bigs from high school to college before. So, kumbaga, if you really want to get big, I'll take Ken Holmqvist at 11.
Okay. What do you guys think about that?
Who's faster, Laput or Holmqvist?
I'll give it to Holmqvist siguro.
I had a feeling if you don't pick him at 11, I think I would have thought Ginebra might have picked him at 12.
Wasn't he the PCCL MVP?
Yes, he was. Yung there can only be 2. If real guys remember.
I heard he had some good workouts, man.
Huh?
I heard Ken's had some good workouts here. So,
Mid.
Ikaw, Carlo, what do you think of this one?
I could have thought that they would get a guard here because there are some big names, some bigger names than Holmqvist, like Frankie, like Ahan Misi. But I can't disagree. If you want to add height, you just add the one with the best potential, I guess.
They just added a 7-footer though, but
they also lost a big man in Standardinger and Kelly Nabong. So, kumbaga, kailangan mo i-shore up yung front line na yun.
Where did Kelly go?
Yeah, where is he?
He's hindi na yata siya pinapirma.
Punta sa Pasig.
Okay, interesting. Okay, now number 12, Coach Pao.
Well, I would have picked Ken if he was available. I think if you're Ginebra, your lineup is set. Yeah, you just get whoever you feel is gonna help maybe plug a hole if they have a hole. I don't really, they have a great team, man. Anyway, going back to this pick, number 12, I think I'd pick Taylor Brown. Shooter, decent size, he doesn't need the ball, so he won't get in the way of everyone else. Let's see.
Is Taylor the one who hasn't really been working out with a lot of teams? Parang ayaw niya mag-workout.
I think he's been going. I don't know.
Where is he working out now?
I know Coach Paul has some inside info there.
Where's he hiding?
Why hiding?
Nakasabay ko siya magpagupit minsan. Legit.
Ah.
Parang sino yun? Magpapadraft daw Brown. Parang, okay. That's him.
Interesting. That's a interesting first round. I actually was able to kind of hear the depth chart of the Ginebra workouts of the draftees. Obviously, it slipped my mind. I kind of forgot, but interesting pick. Yeah, guys, any comments in this first round as we wrap up the first round? Any biggest surprise?
I would have thought Coach Charles that Coach Paolo would pick someone more familiar. I would have pegged him to pick Jerick Ahanmisi at the 12th spot for Ginebra.
Coach Paolo likes Taylor Brown a lot.
I know. I mean, it's just taste, but they're both shooters, so you kind of understand that it's one or the other.
Okay. Coach Anton, your thoughts on the first round so far that we have?
All solid, but I want to put out, I want to include the name in Aljon Melesio. I think he would be in consideration for the first round. Maybe one of the best guards in the draft.
Which team though? Okay, which team in the first round?
Sa akin, he could be as high as maybe 10 all the way to 12. Kahit saan dun, he could fit. So
at number 10, why didn't you pick him? Why did you pick him?
Well, I had a lot of inputs, like Carlo saying that Magnolia needs a big, so I went with the big, and I had heard also rumors, and I was looking at other mock drafts, so
Sige na nga. Ikaw Randolph, biggest surprise or biggest miss out, biggest snub in the first round so far?
I was high on Brian Enriquez. We're hearing great things about him. 6'2" forward, was supposed to play for UE. Plays bigger than his size. But with the 12 that you have, and considering the names that got lost out and basically impacted the draft boards of a number of teams, itong 12 na to, I think, can closely resemble kung ano yung mangyayari. Kasi ganyan naman talaga lagi sa draft Paunahan lagi dun sa mga big man And nakita natin yun noong 2019, Mauricio nga, number 2, di ba? Christian Balgasay nga, first rounder Mga ganong bagay. So nothing really surprising as drastic as nung first time nating nag-mock draft.
Okay. Coach Pao, your final thoughts on this first round?
I think the only one that I reacted to was yung James LAPUT. I did say it the first time we had a mock draft. He's like a project. That's like a 2-year project, man. But I guess Magnolia has time, but that's going to be.
They do.
Let's see about that.
Okay. Well, James, if you're watching this, by the way, Coach Pao has a great service, so he can back up what he's saying. He will show you all the film and clip you want. He will help you improve. Okay. How about that, Coach Pao? Good.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, give you a discount. But okay. I like the pick so far. Of course, our guys, Jamie and Mikey, I wanted to go a bit higher, but, well, fine. Can't go wrong. Okay, so with that, guys, viewers, please send us your comments. You can add any of the guys who picked, and whether it be violent comments or agreement.
No violent.
Pero muna ako sa violent comments, kota na yata.
Okay, fine. Just give your opinions. Please feel free to do so. We enjoy it and we love healthy discussions. Nothing foul though. Okay, so let's move on to the second round. Okay, actually before we go into the second round, we might as well just recap what just transpired to all those who are just joining us. Let's start first. This was the Gilas round first, the Gilas pick. For the first pick, Terra Firma, Randolph picked William Navarro for them. Coach Anton picked North for Northport, Jordan Heading, or Heading, however you say it, Heading piece for NLEX. Obviously, they took the last two guys, so it didn't really matter. Carlo and Coach Paolo took Tungkab and Rangel. And then next to the first round, let's just recap the picks. First pick overall was Joshua Munzon, followed by Jamie Malonzo, Mikey Williams, Calvin Oftana, Larry Muyang, Leonard Santillan, Ben Adamos, Alvin Pasaol, Toy Reich, And the most controversial pick of that round, according to the other host, was James LAPUT. And then we have Ken Holmqvist and Taylor Brown for Ginebra. So there you have it for the first round. But this is the trickier part. The second round, this is where a lot of surprises will happen. So, again, we don't really know what's going on in the mind of all the teams and managers and coaches, but we're just having some fun here. So, okay, Carlo, do the honors. Let's begin round number 2.
This is a rather easy pick for me, no? Kahit na may Bolic ka, tsaka Subido and Elorde as point guards for Northport, I can't pass up on the opportunity to get Jerick Ahanisi, one of the best shooters in the draft. I think he'll be a good addition there, as a two guard, a pure two guard for Coach Pido Harencio, who will give him the green light to shoot.
Okay, I like that, Carlo, because a lot of people were saying, Jerick might have to be a 1 or he has to develop playing a 1 in the PBA. But you seem convinced that he can hold his own and the two guard spot, which is actually his natural position, will be okay for him in the PBA?
I would think so, especially if you have point guards that are solid. When you don't have to play him as a point guard, for example, if he was drafted by Rain or Shine, they'll have to play him as a point guard. But in this situation, he doesn't have to.
Okay, that's fair. Coach Anton, or wait, does anybody have any objections to that pick? Is that a surprise or no? You all agree?
Yan din yung pick ko nung first mock draft eh.
Ginaya ko lang.
It surprised you then. It doesn't surprise you now.
Well, if he isn't picked in the first round, I really like that pick also by Carlo. It's a great pick. Okay, Coach Anton, you're up for Blackwater.
Okay, medyo nahirapan ako kasi I've always thought that Holmqvist would go to Blackwater. So, medyo malayo na si Holmqvist and I really think that Blackwater needs a big. Pero since they have 2 picks, I'll just put the pressure on Randolph. So, for my pick, I'm picking the best available for me.
Yeah.
And I'm picking Aljon Melesio.
Okay. Don't you think they have too many guards though? Di ba joke nga sa kanila, security agency na sila?
Yeah, pero it's too, para sa akin, ang hirap i-pass up si Aljon eh. Probably, it's a win-win for them. It's a problem. It's a good problem for them. So, they just figure it out. If they need to trade someone or whatever, I don't know. Pero Aljon Melesio is someone na hirap talagang i-pass up eh.
Okay. Coach Paul, you're smiling. Please share your comment.
I'm trying to remember their lineup. They have Sumang and Diego Dario and then Melesio. That's like a lot of not only guards, but they're small guards.
I'm not sure if Diego is still with the team, to be honest, if I'm not mistaken. They still have what? Who's there? Takiwag.
Desiderio, Colomia.
Well, kung sa NBA lang yan, kung kahit 4 na guard mo, kung Steph Curry naman yung kukunin mo, di ba? Ganun.
So you're saying
he's going to be Steph Curry?
Huh?
You're saying he's going to be Steph Curry?
Oh, but I'm just giving you an example. I mean, come on.
If Steph Curry falls to the second round and all these coaches are bleep, I'm just kidding. But okay, fine. I like Aljon. I do hope he gets picked high.
They have Baser.
Oh, yes.
They have Baser.
Baser can play too.
Coach Anton, do you like Aljon or do you want him to just sit on the bench fighting for all the minutes? He could have gone to another team that might use him more, like Rain or Shine, just a few picks later. Diba?
Well, talaga.
Ganun lang.
I like Aljon though. I really hope he gets picked and does well. Okay, the other Blackwater pick. Oh, pressure daw sa'yo, Randolph.
This is tough. This is a tough pick.
Pressure talaga kasi akala ko big man yung kukunin ni Anton eh. Diba? Malay ko ba naman na biglang kukuha ng...
Inubos nyo lahat ng big man sa first round eh.
Yun nga eh. But since guard na yung kinuha ni Ton, kailangan kong mag-add ng height, kailangan mag-add ng size, but the remaining bigs are all undersized. So, I'll go with someone who I think Boss Joseldo with Covet kasi can be used as a marketing tool. So, I'll go with Andre Paras at number 3.
Carlo, ba't ka natatawa, Carlo?
But again, I think we've been hearing great things. Charles, he was your co-host dun sa show ninyo. We've been saying for the past many mock drafts na Andre is someone who's really hardworking. He's not as talented as his brother Kobe, but he knows how to play. He knows how to box out, to get rebounds. Pinag-uusapan nga namin dun sa isang mock draft namin. He rebounded 20 boards in one AMA game just because, kumbaga, ganun katindi yung effort na ibibigay ni Andre sa'yo. Siguro question would be yung commitment since he's also artista din to celebrity din to But kumbaga, by face value, literal na face value, ang laki na nung makukuha ng Blackwater sa kanya.
I actually like that pick. Huh? I like how you put it. Your comments, I think, were spot on. He has a great nose for the ball. Works very hard, but yeah, I do hope he'll find a way to balance his celebrity life. Actually, Coach Paolo was telling me nga, if Andre doesn't end up in a PBA team, paano kung napunta sa team namin yan? What if we find a way to get him? Interesting, but that's a good sign. Anybody have a comment on this pick? Pao, Carlo?
They need a big. I mean, they clearly need a big because hindi ka naman sigurado kung kakayanin ni Mauricio yung paglalaro sa PBA because he wasn't able to play in the PBA bubble. So getting a big is very important for Blackwater. If they could add 2 bigs in these 2 spots, they should. Ganun ka basic yung kailangan nilang ilagay.
So imbis na big yung isa sa pinakamaliit yung na-draft nila, no? But okay. Well, you're right. There aren't too many big men anyway, so good pick. At least ma-diverse sila. 2 marketable players. Sabi mo nga, mahilig yung Blackwater sa ganun. Very good, very good. Okay. Coach Pao, Alaska. So you imagine you were still there?
That was going to be my question. Am I picking who's on my draft board or am I picking as Alaska?
I pick as Alaska. And, yeah.
No, because...
It's a biased pick.
No. I'm.
But you know how they select in the draft. That's why it's perfect that you have Alaska. So
I think for a second round pick, I think this is also how do I say this? Crucial for them because they actually moved. I think they moved up in this pick also, right? In the Phoenix draft, right? So I'm not really sure what they're looking at. They might need a point guard now because they didn't re-sign Abel Galigas, so they might need a little more shooting. I'll go with RK Liagan. One of his college coaches is on the staff also. Tough guy. Let's see. I mean, we're in the second round, right? So you're not expecting like a game changer.
I'm just glad he's not in the NCAA anymore talking about Ilaga. Less headaches for us. But that's interesting, Coach Pop, because you meant, actually, when we were talking, obviously, in our one of our many conversations, you had a lot of other different sleepers, names that you mentioned that I thought maybe you'd pick. But I guess Ilagan makes sense. Do you guys object to this? Is this high for Ilagan? Anton?
Not really. Not really. I think it's a decent spot to draft Ilagan. And they really need another point guard as well. So I would have loved for them to get Melesio, but if he's not available...
I mean, you guys picked the guys I wanted. So the 2 guys I was going to pick was Aljan or Andre. So I was like, oh, okay. Now it's tougher. But
that's a good sign then. That means these guys are thinking well and making picks that make sense. Okay, Randolph, you have Rain or Shine.
Since kinuha sa first round ni Rain or Shine is a big guy, kailangan na nila dito i-address yung point guard needs nila. Kaso lang, like yung naging problema ni Coach Pao nakuha na yung 3 doon sa options na pwedeng kunin ng Rain or Shine. So to me, it's a good pick for me if makukuha ng Rain or Shine would be an ALEC Stockton. Surprising, diba? Surprising, diba? Kasi I really think na he's one of the better defensive guards that we have na nandyan sa pool. I was weighing about guys like Jun Manzo, Andre Carahot to fulfill that point guard needs. Pero hindi kailangan ng Rain or Shine ng added firepower. They need someone who can set the plays for them and play hard-nosed defense. So it's feeling ko medyo reach, but with 3 picks for Rain or Shine in the second round, I will be willing to gamble on Alex Stockton.
But do you think he's really a point guard though? He hasn't played point guard in FEU.
Parang 2-3 siya, no?
Yeah,
but kumbaga, hindi ko ma-discount talaga yung defense niya . Kumbaga, he's not someone who's gonna take shots away from the Reynang Batacs, the JV Mocons. So yun yung, and ako siguro, it's more of also accepting na pwedeng balikan ni Coach Chris Gavina, yung naging playbook ni Coach Yeng in putting Gabe Norwood at the point guard spot. And Coach Chris Gavina has been one of the most underrated coaches, an excellent coach, even before nung nasa Kia siya. So, okay sa akin to eh. Kumbaga, a decent gamble for Rainer Shine to reach for Alex Stockton at this.
Stockton is tough, man. He's hard-nosed. He's
Yeah.
tough, super physical. He's pretty athletic too for his size. But look, kasi worry ko lang dyan, Randolph, di ba man dyan na si Adrian Wong's there also. I think Clint Doliges, although I don't know if they resigned him or not. But ang dami nilang...
Northport na si Good Doligas, diba?
Yeah. They got for Ginto. Yeah.
Yeah, Ginto.
Yeah, okay. So, okay. Sige. Guys, what do you think of this pick? You guys seem a bit surprised.
I would have thought Karakot, diba? I would have thought a pure point, but hey.
What about Frankie Johnson?
That was there. Okay, there are two names I was expecting. That was the first one. The second one was Demusis. Okay, because he was his player, right? And Bacoor. So I'm thinking, well, who knows? Maybe they got two more
Well, they
picks.
still have 2 picks.
Yeah.
That's
Correct.
true.
Yeah.
Very
Pick it up
interesting,
later.
very interesting.
Pick it up later.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next pick. Carlo, you have Phoenix.
Close your eyes. Imagine this. Chris Banchero running the point.
Okay.
Jason Perkins and Justin Chua running the horns.
Okay.
You have Matthew Wright, right baseline. And then on your left baseline, you have Frankie Johnson.
Okay.
Kind
I'm
of
still
fun.
closing my eyes. Wait.
Kind of fun to imagine. Like all of the 5 players can shoot from the outside. Equally dangerous, whichever the defense leaves open. So I would want another guard, like an RJ Hazul type of guard, but younger. Kasi si RJ, di ba, papasok yan for Phoenix, just rain threes on them. So if you will have an understudy who has, unlimited confidence in his ability to shoot from the outside, I'd love Frankie Johnson to land with Phoenix.
Limited confidence indeed. He also is pretty athletic, so that's a good thing for him. He can fly. I've seen him fly. Coach Anton, ikaw, you've handled Frankie. You've been with him for a while. Your thoughts on this pick?
Si Frankie kasi is someone I mean he's definitely a scorer. D-League he was averaging 30 points a game. And he really, I think he put up his stock when he played in the 3-on-3. With those, he's very athletic for his size. I think that's something na tapos speed. I think it's a good pick for Phoenix kasi parang I think he fits what kind of system Phoenix can bring. I think he just needs to, probably adjust to the 5-on-5 game again. Like I said with Alvin and Santi, pero I think those are just very small things. And with the 6th pick in the second round, I think okay. I mean that's probably a steal.
Are you surprised that he actually got picked this late?
Honestly, I would have picked him for Rainer Shine with Alexander, like I said, or he could be one of. If I was not thinking of Aljon Mesh, I would be thinking of Frankie Johnson.
Yun nga, hindi mo kinuha sa Blackwater eh.
Yun na mo si Aljon sa bata mo, ha? But okay, kasi may mga rin na baka potential first round pick si Frankie. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I think I've seen
Rumors?
Mock draft. So interesting that he dropped this much. Okay, with that, you have the other pick of Phoenix, Coach Anton. Who are you picking?
Yeah, basically kasi, well, like what Carlos said, they got Vic Manuel, they got Banchero, and then you got someone in Ben Adamos, tapos you get Frankie Johnson. So basically parang for Phoenix, you got your needs na for your team. Parang you filled in the spots na kailangan mo. Now you're just trying to fill in the other remaining. And I think for Coach Topics, I'm going with familiarity, and that's going with this player. And I think talaga, alam ko to, parang obvious to eh. He's gonna pick this guy, and it's gonna be Raymar Caduya.
What do you guys think of that pick?
I have don't get me wrong, he's a good college player, but what position is he gonna play in the pros?
One.
Is he one? He's
Still a 1.
he's gonna be a 1, right?
Yeah.
So and he doesn't really shoot. So, but again, what Coach Anton said, familiarity. Who knows? Maybe under Coach Topex, he'll be a serviceable PBA player.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, now Coach Pao, and next number 8 in the second round.
Yeah. Second round, basically what's his 20th overall. I'll go with Anton Asistio.
Ooh. Yeah, you guys have been talking about shooting. You forgot one of the best shooters in the draft.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best shooters, and I don't know if he can play point. That's something he definitely needs to work on. But he's tough as nails, and he can shoot. So if you can shoot, that's always gonna give you a chance.
Okay. Do you guys think that him taking after winning a championship in Ateneo, taking 1 year off before joining the draft and trying to, I guess, maybe gain more experience in the MPBL, do you think that actually hurt his case, Carlo?
He did not have enough D-League games. So it wasn't a decision that he took willingly. It was something that he had to do. So
And no, he played for me.
How did he play? How many minutes per game did you give him?
Oh, a lot. If we could play him 40 minutes, we would have played him 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For all the young guys out there, you should want to be under Coach Anton. He loves his players to death.
May recruitment
will
pitch na
pick
pala
you
nagaganap.
in mock
I don't
draft.
care if you played for us like five seconds. I'm gonna be fighting for you.
Ano yan eh. Nakasulat yan sa listahan ni Coach Anton sa pros. If you play for me, every mock draft that I join, you're in.
Problema, ang dami na niyang pick sa round na to. Di naman niya kinuha si Asistio. Kinuha rin si Kaduyak. Di naman niya
Panalo ko eh.
Si
Huwag mo ko siraan. Huwag mo ko siraan.
Kukunin niya na dapat sa Alaska eh.
Sige na nga. Okay. So, with that, Coach Anton, baka may player ka pa dyan na hindi mo pa na-pick.
Meron ba ako?
Okay. Tignan natin kung totoo nga ang disclaimer kay Coach Anton. Okay, who do you have for Alaska?
Alaska, well, think they filled in, sino ba kinuha nila sa first round? Was it Muya? Santi.
Yeah.
And I don't think there are any bigs left in the draft. So, probably I would get someone JV is getting old already. I mean, you put RK Ilaga, pero I think you need siguro, depending if RK would be okay or not. So, I think you need another guard na parang, just in case na parang, hindi kayo happy sa you need a insurance. So, I think I'm gonna go with Andre Caracot.
Mawi ka naman pala.
May disclaimer ba, Anton?
Wala.
Okay.
Hindi kami close nun. Hindi ko kilala yun. Hindi kami close nun. Ano, Andre Caracol. Hindi ko close nun.
Talk about his game a bit, Anton.
Well, si Andre, I handled him when he was in LaSalle. I think his 4th year. And he's a combo guard. He's improved a lot kasi from his early years in LaSalle, he didn't really do well. Pero yung patapos na medyo he matured, and then a couple of games he played in the ABL, he played well. Sa akin, he's a high IQ guy. He can shoot, and I think that's one thing that parang requirement for Alaska. You really have to shoot. You have to be a shooter, and I think he fits that requirement for Alaska. Okay,
Carlo, again, I want to ask you because, well, you're familiar with this guy. And actually, you mentioned him earlier. Now, you would have thought maybe he would have been taken earlier in this round. If I'm not mistaken, that was you. Your thoughts on Andre Caracot and him dropping this deep? Is that a surprise?
No, nung unang mock draft natin, he wasn't even here. So I think this is already, an improvement for Caracot. Yung pwesto lang kasi, again, Coach Anton got him just as an insurance policy for Alaska. I would have loved for him to drop a little bit more down to rain or shine, because that's an easier transition, because he will be given the opportunity to run the ball. But for Andre, he's ready for the PBA. I mean, he's paid his dues in the UAAP, played a little bit sa San Miguel Ala Pilipinas. Learned a lot from Jason Brickman. So let's see what he can come up with.
Okay, but like when you compare to some of the other guards taken ahead of him in this round, of course, Melesio, Ilagan, you can throw in Stockton, Ahanmisi, even Anton Asistio. Where do you think he ranks there? Is that pretty accurate though?
If walang team involved, I would have drafted him before I drafted Kaduyak. But that's just my taste. Maybe a little bit ahead of Stockton even. But again, it depends on taste. But I understand where they're coming from. So I think, Andre, just be drafted in the second round and give yourself an opportunity to make the team.
Okay. Very, very fair point. Coach Paolo.
All right. Rain or shine. So we've been talking about them needing a point guard. But since Rain or Shine's picking back-to-back, I'm going to make Carlos' job.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna get Demusis. Yeah, I already mentioned he played for Coach Chris before, so similar to the Kaduyak pick, it's a familiarity pick. You kind of know what you're getting. Second round, an athletic forward. I think this will be a easy pick for Rain or Shine if he's available there.
What will they be getting exactly from Nick Demusis? For the guys, for our viewers who aren't that familiar with him, do you see him as a role player, a potential, or who's his game kind of similar to in the PBA?
Well, I think I haven't watched him that much, but he seems like an energy guy, a guy who's athletic. I saw him the first time I saw him. He was like he dunked in a game, and I was like, "Who the heck's this dude?" And it was like not like one of those baby dunks. It was like a legit dunk in the game. I was like, "Wow, this guy's really athletic," and I think it kind of fits into the style of play that Coach Chris will probably employ, which is hard-nosed, tough, in your face. He's really high on guys who play like that, and I think this guy can help them out.
Okay, makes sense. Let's see if maybe he's even taken earlier, just based on what you said, because they do have another pick there now. Okay, Carlos, since Coach Pao gave you a hard time, second to the last pick of the draft.
I will pick blind.
Okay.
Brian Enriquez.
Oh. Where did that come from then?
Just things you hear. Things. I've talked to a couple of coaches that have actually tabbed him as an early second rounder, potentially an early second rounder. So if he falls here, even if I don't know his game completely, I think Rainer Shine should take a chance. D2 player, right? He's a former Division 2 player. Good athleticism, good experience. Yeah, Rainer Shine.
Okay, Coach Pao, you mentioned his name to me before. What have you heard about this guy?
I haven't. Well, there's been a couple of coaches, and I haven't talked to these coaches, but just reading their interviews, he's been in their workouts. So I'm sure PBA coaches are talking about him. And when I watched a few games of him, I wanted to see how he played. I think he can be he can play. So I will not be surprised if what Carlos said is right, and he gets drafted early second round. So I didn't pick him because I just picked what made logical sense, but I have no complaint. I think this guy might be a sleeper.
That's very interesting. Okay, Randolph, you have the honors of the last pick.
Right.
Kinuha ni Carlo yung pick ko eh. Kasi I was really hoping Brian Enriquez will slide down. Pero after 2 rounds, hindi pa rin natin fully na-address yung point guard woes ng Rain or Shine. But with Ginebra, tama ba ang una nilang na-pick was Taylor Brown? So, again, what can you get for a team that almost has it all? You get who you believe is the best available talent that you have. But to me, it's more about addressing yung kung saan ka tumatanda. We don't know how longer Jeff Chan will play, and I think it's a logical move for them to further shore up yung wings nila. Cause hindi natin alam, Joe Devance, he's been injury prone for the past few years. I'm taking siguro the best shooter remaining in the pool, which is Joshua Toralba, who has shown a lot of confidence during his time with Makati Super Crunch. Hindi yung Makating naglaro kahapon pre-pandemic Makati Super Crunch dun sa MPBL.
Okay. Did
they play?
But they did. warm-up for San Juan practice. Coach Anton, I saw you pumping your fist with this pick. Please share why.
Kasi honestly, that was my. If I wouldn't pick Andre, I would have picked Josh. Kasi Josh Toralba is sa akin, he can fill a lot of holes with a lot of teams. Like for example, I could pick him instead of Kaduyak, but I was thinking of familiarity. Kasi he can play a lot of positions. He can play a point guard. I mean, a big guard, but he's more comfortable in the wing position. Pero if you guys watched him play in Makati, talagang parang nag-level up in laro niya from what we saw in college when he was last year, and I think he's matured already. He's mature enough for the pros. He can shoot. He can attack the basket. He can defend. I mean, he's about 6'1", a bit long, but I think for me he's another sleeper in this draft. He could go as high as probably the last pick of Ginebra for first round. Pwede siya. I mean, he's a special talent. Not just talent, he's also a really good person. I just want to add that because I have experience with him. He's a really good guy. So
that's perfect. One thing that I do feel is harder for these teams is that obviously we're not having a draft combine. You can't really see these guys work out. That would have been make things much easier, give them more clarity. You can't even the workouts, you can't really see them go up against in a real 5-5. So I guess that makes it a bit harder. But okay, your picks were very interesting, guys. But obviously, before we end, I just want to know, or let's throw out there, who are some of the names that we may have missed out that you guys thought maybe could have been picked? You want to give a name, Carlo?
Circle back to me. I'll think about it.
Okay, Coach Paolo.
There are a couple of guys who I think second round that you can take a chance on. So one guy, I brought him up in the previous mock draft, and Randolph was giving me a hard time for it, but I still think he's a guy worth exploring. David Morrell. Okay, just on athletic ability. Okay, so that's one guy. And then number two, I think if he gets on the right team, right opportunity, so is Olayon.
Okay. He's in the draft.
Yeah, he's in the draft. So if he ends up, for example, under Coach Yang, who has a history of developing second and third round picks, he might end up being a decent player. Because there's a bunch of guys on NLEX, you're like, wow, this guy's second round, this guy's third round, yung iba ata, parang fourth round pa ata.
Coach Yang special. Olayon, the lefty, right?
Yeah, the lefty wing for UE.
Pwede parang Leo na horda ni Coach Yang yan, or something like that, I guess. Okay, I like that. I like that you mentioned that. I remember Morel, you actually think he's one of the better defenders in the draft. So, okay, that makes sense. Randolph, ikaw? Sino ang
I can think of three names, and all of them, well, two of them played in the NPBL. One guy is Don Reverente. Yung ano yung word? Basta yun.
Hey.
Yeah. Basta sinalampak, whatever it is. He has shown what he can do with Pasay, with MPBL. Kumbaga, ito talaga a gem, a do-it-all guy. Another name that I can think about is Art Aquino from CEU, who plays well for San Juan, who undersized forward but knows how to play his game. And another guy na ito talaga feeling ko never heard ng karamihan, si Jeff Manday, could be an Eloy Poligrates, a no-namer from Negros, but a 3-time MVP from them. He was supposed to play for Marinero, kaso lang na-pandemic yung D-League natin eh. So those yung mga names na can squeak dun sa second round, but I won't be surprised if teams gamble on them pagdating ng third round.
So you do think these names that you mentioned that they may have a chance of cracking a PBA roster?
If guys like Daniel De Guzman can make it, I have no question for Don Reverente and Art Aquino. Mas mahirap si Jeff Manday kasi medyo he's smaller, he's just a 5'7" guard but we seen the trend sa PBA, it favors more of the big guys. And again, like what we've been talking about, with the right coach, with the right system, who knows, 'di ba? They are only needing a chance. So, yun naman yung importante.
Okay. Coach Anton, ikaw, sino ang posibleng na-miss out natin? May player ka bang di namin natawag?
Besides ba sa mga film na hindi eligible?
Of course.
Well, I'm looking at the list right now kasi I'm not really familiar with everyone. I think I've been hearing this name. I don't know which one. Tulungan nyo na lang ako. Yung si Brill. I don't know. Lauren. Okay, Lauren. I've been hearing his name a lot. And I think he's been working with a couple of teams and I've been hearing good things about him. So that's one name. And another name that I'm curious kasi we don't have a lot of bigs in this draft. And I don't know, with the right team, he might fit like for Yenga or whatever. Si Raymar Acuno. He's about 6'7", so parang you never know if Chadi Rangel turns out well. Malay mo, pwede rin project to. And then another...
Tama na, maubos na yun sa akin eh.
Ay, maubos ka na ba? Last na. I have to say, kasi isa rin siyang, well, he really played well in the UAAP, pero...
Ayan na, kukunin na, ayan na.
Ay, alam mo na ba to?
Di mo pwede kalimutan yan, bata mo yan eh.
Pwede bang Hindi ko na sabihin? Ikaw na?
Sa'yo na.
Sige. I'm going with Jun Manzo.
Yeah, Jun Manzo. I actually am a fan of his game. I like that guy. Okay, that's fair. He's a great point guard. Yeah. Interesting.
That was actually my only name, Coach Charles. Like if you were to ask me Jun Manzo or Ray Kaduya, I'd be more familiar with Jun Manzo's name to have an opinion and maybe draft him at some point in the second round if I need a point guard. Pero maganda nga yung explanation ni Coach Anton eh. Yung fit talaga and the familiarity between Kaduyak and Coach Topex Robinson, because if you remember what happened in that PBA D-League championship winning game, Kaduyak, among all the stars that were in that squad, Kaduyak took over. So yung ganong tiwala, hindi mo mabibili. So I understand that.
That's true.
Pick completely.
Okay, I like the Jun Manzo mention, Carlo and Anton, but how do you compare him to, I guess, some of the smaller guards that you picked ahead of him or that was picked ahead of him in round 2, at least according to us, in Aljun Malesio and RK Ilagan? Are they that much ahead of Jun Manzo or is it close? Ikaw, Carlo.
Ako, for me, no. I mean, in terms of disparity, maybe aside from I really like Malesio, so I think he is in another level as compared to Jun Manzo. But again, if you're going to pick Karakot and Kaduyak, Manzo could be in that same conversation. It's not that far apart.
Okay. That was great, guys. I enjoyed doing this draft again. Do you have any final words or any final shout out before we wrap things up? No. Randolph, ikaw. May gusto ka bang sabihin?
Shout out? Wala, ano lang. Obviously, yung Phil 4 situation has taken a bit of a bump dun sa intrigue and depth ng draft natin. But there are still a number of decent, solid players, a few probably franchise-altering players. We can name at least 3. Nakita nyo naman sa draft boards natin. But yun lang. Watch out on Sunday's draft. It would be a very, very, very exciting process for all 12 teams.
Okay, so with that being said, to our
I have a watch out.
Okay. Yes,
I have a watch out. Watch out for the possibility of Jeremiah Gray, Jason Brickman, and Brandon Ganuelas Rosser playing together in 1-3x3 team. Just putting it out there as a possibility. I have no inside information, but they know each other. They all played for San Miguel Ala Pilipinas. So if they want to pursue that route, they should do it together.
No inside info, ha?
No inside info.
Ako may inside info.
Zero inside info.
Ako may inside info.
Nothing
Posible,
at all.
nangyari yun. But okay, let's just wait for the news kasi si Carlo, kung ayaw mo sabihin, ayaw mo naman i-share. But sige. That's fine. I like that shout out or watch out, Carlo. So again, thank you, Coach Anton, Randolph, Coach Pao, Carlo. Again, this has been a crossover of Coaches Unfiltered, the Prospects Pod, and 2OT. Please continue to watch and support our respective pods and throw out any guests that you want us to try to have. And we really appreciate all the support. And of course, we always want to thank Smart for supporting our shows. Again, SMART reminds us to live smarter for a better world. Through this initiative, it's SMART's aim to create that spark in everyone to help change the world for the better. So on behalf of my fellow hosts, my name is Charles Liu. Thank you for watching this mock draft, and we hope you were entertained, and we hope our picks will somewhat be accurate come draft time.
In life, what we believe in propels us to go in different ways. But the truth remains. What we do affects the world around us. How it all turns out depends on the choices we make. Let me ask you this. If the world gave us a second chance, what would we do? Should we do good? Or should we do better? Should we push for what we believe in? Should we empower others to speak and have their voices heard? Let's strive to save what we can while we can. Share more knowledge to build and not to destroy. Show the ways to heal and not to hurt. Let's strive to live smarter, to make the world better. Because it doesn't matter who, what, or where you are. We have the power to create a better world. Not just for ourselves, but for the good of all. The world is now on reset and is giving us a second chance. We have it in our hands to do better. How do I know this? Simple, smart ako. How about you? What are you prepared to do?